Business News now on the programme. Yuka's joining us here on set. You're starting in the US, aren't you, Yuka? A ransomware attack has forced the shutdown of a vital pipeline. It's now entering its third day, this, though, isn't it?
Well, Stuart, the US government has declared a regional emergency, and the White House says it's working closely with the operator Colonial Pipeline. The company ships gasoline and jet fuel from the Gulf Coast to some 50 million consumers on the US East Coast through nearly 9,000 kilometres of pipeline. The malware has exposed yet again vulnerabilities of critical infrastructure to cyber attacks amid intensifying hacking activities around the world. Solange Mujan reports.
It is one of the most disruptive ransomware attacks in the US to date. Hackers managed Friday to compromise the systems of the US's Colonial Pipeline, forcing its operator to shut down the main fuel lines. The Colonial Pipeline carries gasoline from Houston, Texas to Linden, New Jersey, delivering along the way more than 300 million liters of fuel to major American airports and consumers every day. It distributes 45% of the area's fuel consumption. The U.S. Commerce Secretary said all hands were on deck to mitigate the digital breach and to get the pipeline back up and running. But if the shutdown continues, it could have a significant impact on gas prices.
One can see that on day 4 or 5 of a Colonial outage, that we could see a much greater widespread impact through large areas throughout the mid-Atlantic and the Southeast.
While unconfirmed, officials believe the hack is the work of the cybercriminal group DarkSide. Like many other cyber extortion gangs, it is known to avoid targeting former Soviet bloc nations. But such criminal networks have cost billions to Western countries in the past years.
These groups are realizing that by targeting industrial companies, they can get higher payouts, and the companies are more willing to pay out because they want to return these vital operations.
Faced with a major pipeline shutdown, American lawmakers have stepped up calls for more cyber protection to the U.S.'s infrastructure.
Yeah, and in fact, oil prices really surged following that event at the weekend, haven't they?
Well, crude prices continue to rise with the outage putting pressure on supplies. The real effect, though, will probably be felt in refined products. So gasoline and heating oil futures rose more than crude oil in New York. Gasoline hovering about 2% higher than Friday's level. But as you can see, crude prices are somewhat more muted in their reaction. On the stock market, a bit of a mixed bag this Monday in Asia, with Seoul rising about 1 3/4%, and Tokyo also rising, but Shanghai Composite and Hong Kong dropping below the flat line.
Now, this pipeline attack is just the latest, of course, in a growing list of cyber attacks, which has been targeting government agencies and businesses as well.
Well, you may remember the Marriott hotel attack back in that was exposed, that was detected back in 2018. The international hotel chain found that hackers stole sensitive data of about 500 million customers, including their credit card numbers. Now, just in the last few months alone, there has been a series of attacks. The SolarWinds hack that breached the systems of US government agencies as well as companies around the world, carried out by a group of hackers backed by the Russian government. In February of this year, hackers sneaked into the Florida water system and managed to increase the levels of sodium hydroxide in the water there. Taiwanese computer maker Acer was asked to pay $50 million over ransomware planted using vulnerabilities in the Microsoft Exchange system. And last month, authorities here in France warned that cyber attacks have increased fourfold since the start of the pandemic.
Let's move to something else. South Korea, we're going to talk about South Korea and Israel, in fact. They're set to sign a free trade agreement.
Israel's foreign and economy ministers have begun their 3-day visit to South Korea and are expected to sign the deal in Seoul. Now, this will be Israel's first free trade agreement with an East Asian country. Top executives from business giants such as Samsung and Hyundai will also attend the signing ceremony. Now, the deal will include a special section about technological cooperation, which is different from FTAs Israel already has with other countries. A special budget for co-financing a research and development fund will also be allocated.
Now, finally, from Yuka, SpaceX is going to launch a lunar mission with a bit of a difference, just because it's named, in fact, after a cryptocurrency.
Well, you wouldn't be too surprised. It comes from Elon Musk's rocket company, SpaceX. It will call this mission to the moon, scheduled for the first half of next year, Doge-1, and will accept Dogecoin as payment. Now, Dogecoin was born out of an internet meme. It was meant to be a joke at the beginning, but now it has a real value, which, like many cryptocurrencies, is very volatile. It skyrocketed in recent weeks, but then dropped by a third this weekend after Elon Musk himself called it a hustle on Saturday Night Live. In announcing the Doge-1 mission, though, Musk said in a tweet that his company is launching the first crypto and first meme into space.
Well, there you go. You see, space gets everywhere, doesn't it? Thank you very much, Yuka.
Or cryptocurrencies.
Cryptocurrency, they both get everywhere, don't they? Yuka, thanks very much. Yuka with Business on France.